There should be a resource audit which should be taken up. Okay, it analyzes or it understands what are the competencies the organization has, the core competencies, then assessing the balance, the resource competencies, business units. Then they are identified, they are matched with the critical success factors and the strategic capabilities understood. Okay, first let's understand what is the meaning of resources. What are resources? What are resources? Am I audible? I didn't check that. Am I audible? Yeah. What are resources? Anyone out there? Am I audible? Nobody is responding. Okay, okay, okay. Resources are all things that can be used in order to complete the flow of business. Okay, very good. Okay, whatever they own, all things that can be used, the things which they own, which they have with the organization, which they can use it so that they can take up the business activities. Yes. So the resources could be broad classification of resources are um, they are physical or operational resources like land, building, machinery, all those things. The physical operational resources which are owned by the organization, which they have with them. So, what are their plus points? What are they? What advantage do they have by possessing these resources, the physical or operational? Then okay, after the physical or operational resources, it's the manpower or human resources, the employees, their qualification, their knowledge, the skill set, the abilities of the people who are working in the organization, they have to be analyzed. Okay, they are the ones who are going to implement the strategy of the organization. So their competency, their ability, their knowledge, their skill set, all of them have to be analyzed because they are part of the internal environment of the organization. That's an internal factor that has to be understood. Then what is the availability of capital or financial resources? What is the amount of capital which they have? um, if they have to go in for expansion, do they have sufficient funds, or they invest in newer projects, then do they have capital? All that has to be analyzed. So the next one is financial resources. After that, apart from all these things, there are certain intangibles also, which are the resources of the organization. What are intangibles? The first one is tangibles, that is physical or operational resources which they have. Intangibles, like any example of intangible? Okay. Goodwill is an intangible. That's an example. Intangible, which do not have patents, copyrights, technical know-how. These things are intangible. By owning these intangibles like goodwill, patents, copyrights, trademarks, technical know-how, all these things, the organization can be benefited out of that. So resources broad classification is physical or operational resources, human resources, financial resources, intangibles. Okay, there is a model which is given as a EMS model, where resources are presented in by way of representing them as M. Okay. So resources audit helps to identify the organization's resources. So what are the resources which the organization has? If to identify that, there is an audit taken up which is called as a resource audit. Okay, resource audit audits the organization internal situation, internal environment, and identifies the resources which are owned by the organization. That's as simple as that. So, but that is presented in the form of M's, various M's. Okay. Manpower, we've already discussed the employees of the organization, manpower. Then we have money, capital, management of the organization, the ability to run the organization, take decisions for the organization. Um, I mean, utilize the resources in such a way that they get optimum benefit out of that. Right? That's management. Then machinery which is used in the process of the organization, the various activities, various processes which are involved. For that, the machinery which they own. Okay, markets, the markets in which they are going to trade their products, the products which are produced, materials, the raw material, the inputs which they use for the production process is materials. Then methods, the methods are the processes or activities which are used in the organization. Management information, why is information needed? Information is needed for taking better decisions. So what is the information which is available? Do they use the technology to provide the information, gather the information, provide the information? And finally we have the makeup is the culture of the organization. So they are clearly explained here and then presented here. The culture and structure of the organization is also called as makeup, right? Now, after the resources are, okay, after we understand the resources which are available, then we look at the competencies. What are competencies? It says that a competence is a group of abilities, resources, or skills that enable the organization to act effectively. So it's a set of resources, group of resources or skills which are combined together. Then we call them as competence. Competence is a group of abilities, resources, or skills the organization possesses. Now there are two different types of competence: core competence, threshold competence. Okay, core competence. These are things that are that you are able to do, that are difficult for your competitors to emulate. Now, when you talk about core competence, what is your main area of strength? What is your advantage? What is your strength? What is the main thing which defines you? Now, if you talk about let's take if an athlete is asked about what is your core competence, maybe he will talk about um, the exercise time which he does, or his speed in taking a decision, his ability to move quicker or faster. Now, something they would say. Now, for an organization, maybe for an IT organization, what is their core competence? Their employees, the I mean, their ability to develop the software further, or their investment in technology. Now, whatever is that. So, what is their main area, core area of strength? Is core competence. They form the basis of competitive advantage and are referred to by Johnson and Scholes as the order winners. Okay. Some of them say our core competence is quality or speed of or delivery, fast deliveries. Okay. Some area where they feel that they have that advantage where others do not have. That's core competence. Threshold competences are these are things that you will do well, that simply enable you to compete in the market. They do not give competitive advantage. So, but uh, if you do that well, or if you perform that, or if you implement that well, then you can do well in the market. Okay, they do not give competitive advantage if they are not satisfied. You will not even be considered by the customers. Okay, there are certain other features apart from that. If you talk about quality as your core competence, you insist on producing quality products and providing quality products or services and providing to the customers. If you talk about that, maybe your other things like you are delivering these products or services in time. That is your threshold competence. Then that is defined as or referred to as the order qualifiers. So the next in the order, something like that. Resources are identified, competencies are understood. Then we come to understanding what is the meaning of critical success factors. Mm, it talks about understand what are your resources, what are your competencies. Then parallelly understand what are the CSFs, and then compare the competencies and CSFs and match with each other. What are CSFs? Now, CSFs are the vital areas where things must go right, or those factors which can give the success, those factors which help them to achieve their targets, achieve their strategy, those areas or those factors which are crucial, which are very important. Then, with the help of those things, they will be able to achieve the target. So those areas that where things must go right for the business to flourish, to achieve their strategy, to achieve their objectives, there are certain factors which are very crucial. For example, now if it has to make profit, what is the area which they have to focus on? They have to focus on having better sales. Okay, making sales to the customers, or making the customers satisfied. Customer satisfaction is another important point. Sometimes something like their employees are important, so their knowledge and skill set, I mean, do they have that required skill set to perform their duties? Do they have that knowledge? Do they have that ability? That could be a critical success factor. Do they have that right kind of environment in the organization where they can operate their activities and deliver these things to the customers? So that can be another areas. Like that, we have many areas, maybe their ability to raise funds, or their long-term position, short-term position, their ability to generate turnover. These are all crucial areas, which we can call them as critical success factors. Those factors which can help the organization achieve its targets, achieve its goals. Okay, so the CSFs. The next thing is understand what are CSFs, and what are the sources of CSF is given by Rockert. Rockert has given a model which says that CSFs can be identified in the industry, business, the CSFs which are present in the industry, to which industry the organization belongs to. Okay, that's the first one. The second one is talks about company and its situation in the industry, their position in the industry. That's the second one. The environment and the temporal organizational factors. Let's look at what these are. So Rockert claims that there are four sources of critical success factors. The first one is the industry that the business is in. Each has CSFs that are relevant to any company within it. There is an example which is given. The car industry must have as one of its CSS compliance with pollution requirements. So if they belong to that industry, there are certain things which they have to take care of, which will result in success for them. If they comply with the pollution requirements or regarding exhaust gases, the other things, now that is one measure which will evaluate those cars as best cars or better cars or competent cars in the industry. So that is one area. So the industry where this particular firm belongs to, whether it complies with whatever other requirements, will decide about whether the organization will become successful or not. So first identify itself with the industry. What are the requirements of that industry? To comply with those requirements, what it has to do has to be understood. Okay, that's the first one, the industry that the business is in. So Rocket says that first they have to identify to which industry. Now a pharmaceutical industry should understand the drug compositions of it, and how do they deal with the wastage and all. What kind of skill set are they looking at? Those things have to be uh, understood, because not everybody can be employed in a pharmaceutical company. That kind of required skill set. So the people who are there, okay, um, I mean, the technical expertise, if it is there, yes, they are recruiting the right people. And then the industry is pharmaceutical industry, so they are fulfilling one parameter about the right manpower is employed into that. So that is one requirement. Okay, do they have those patents is another requirement. Patents to um, develop their drugs and all. Okay, so first thing we have to understand what is the industry, what is that industry to which the business belongs to. Okay, second one talks about the company itself and its situation within the industry. So that talks about its competitive strategy and its geographic location. So first we have to understand the industry. Second one, understand the organization, understand the company and its position in the industry. So position in terms of whether they are the market leaders, whether they are just they have started their business, they are new entrants, or they have gained a market share in the industry. Where do they stand in terms of competition, and what is their location, the physical location, geographical location also has to be understood. So is it on par with the other competitors, or are they leaders in terms of various aspects about research development or acquiring the market share, or though they do not have the market share but their profitability is very high. Whatever is the situation, the scenario has to be understood, the company itself and its situation within the industry. After that we have the wider environment example, the economy, the political factors, the consumer trends in the country or countries that the organization operates in. So other factors when they are considered on a wider note, the entire economy, the political factors, the consumers who are there in that particular region, what are their tastes, their preferences, what are their expectations. Now, all those things are taken on a wider note when the environment is evaluated. For example, in a time of oil shortages, energy supply availability could be a critical success factor. So, in that particular environment, whether they can fit or not, how do they operate? is the wider environment. The last one talks about temporal organizational factors. Temporal organizational factors. These are areas of company activity that are unusually causing concern because they are unacceptable and need attention. Okay, these are not regular, but then sometimes they arise. The term itself says that they are temporarily, something, some variation, fluctuation, some unpredicted things when they happen, then we call them as temporal organizational factors. Okay, examples given here are short-term cash management, because the availability of cash is not there. Then if they can arrange some cash amount, then that can act as a critical success factor in a situation where they are struggling to meet uh, their cash balances and meet their current liabilities and operating expenses. So Rockert has given a model wherein it says that there are four different sources of critical success factors: the industry to which it belongs, um, the industry, what are the requirements of the industry to be a part of that industry, what has to be complied with, what are the things which requirements which have to be met is the first one. Second one talks about what is the company, the position of the company. Okay, how it is in terms of facing the competition, where it is located. Those things are um, points to be considered for critical success factors. Then the wider environment, the entire economy, the political scenario, the people in the economy, their taste, their culture, cultural preferences, all those things form a part of the wider environment. Then some suddenly, if there are certain situations which arise, and then if they can make some arrangements and meet those requirements, we call them as those are temporal organizational factors which can result in success. If they can face those scenarios, those situations successfully, whatever are the factors, we call them as success factors, critical success factors. Now, what about critical success factors? Critical success factors, it says that how CSS fit into the bigger picture. Okay, initial classes we've learned about what has to be done. The first one was strategic analysis. Then, with the help of strategic analysis, strategic choices are made, and then strategic implementation. From strategic implementation, feedback is given to various internal, external analysis and stakeholder analysis, and also if needed, the strategy is revised. That is what we've learned initially. So in this whole picture, where do CSFs fit in? So CSFs fit um, in the strategic analysis part of it. It says that internal analysis to identify the firm's resource and core competencies, just now what we've understood, and then external analysis to identify CSFs in the market. So when they understand their position in the organization, the internal analysis and external analysis. Since we've already discussed, I'm not once again discussing about that. But how do we analyze the internal analysis and external analysis? We have a model called as SWOT analysis. Okay, we've already discussed about this, so I'm not repeating it. So just um, have an idea about it. SW relate to the internal analysis. So this is internal. Then OT relates to external factors. So opportunities and threats are part of the external analysis. So first we have to take up the analysis of internal factors. Internal analysis has to be taken up. Then external analysis also has to be taken up. After we do that, then we identify what are the CSFs which can give them success. The CSFs have to be identified. So for the strategic analysis, what should be done is the SWOT analysis should be done, wherein the SWOT analysis analyzes the strengths, weaknesses of the organization. And then the external analysis talks about what are the opportunities they have and what are the threats they have. After CSFs are identified, then based on the CSFs, now CSFs result in achievement of the objective. They help in uh, achievement of their goals and objectives. The targets can be achieved. So they are very important. They are very crucial, critical. So these factors are critical. They can help them um, achieve what they want to achieve. So now, after the CSFs are identified, so now CSFs are identified from the SWOT analysis, the internal analysis, the external analysis. After that, based on the CSFs, they can have a strategic choice made. They can choose among what strategies they have. Select strategies where the firm has or can acquire the core competences to meet the CSFs. So if these are the areas which can give them success. Now, if after identifying the CSFs which belong to the industry, which belong to the company, the economy in which the organization is located, okay, other factors which arise from time to time. After the CSFs are identified, um, then what are their core competencies? Uh, I mean, what strategies do they adopt? Has to be understood. Um, According to the CSFs, do they have their that competencies? Um, let's say that if sales gives them or sales or profitability, if we are considering that as a critical success factor, maybe there is demand in the external environment is giving an opportunity for them to tell that there is demand in the external environment. Now, in that case, if sales is considered to be as a critical success factor, let's take that. If we are talking about sales as a critical success factor, and if there is demand present in the market, external environment, then um, to meet that demand, what strategy do they adopt? The strategy adopted is in terms of um, uh, uh, attracting these customers by way of having a cost control or by giving them discounts or um, in terms of bringing in quality products, or the demand is so high that even if they do not take up these measures also, the customers can get generally attracted to the products and buy that. So once they identify the CSF, according to the CSF, whether they have the competency, and based on that, what strategy would they adopt? How would they approach the customers? How do they deliver the products to the customers? What strategy do they adopt? Do they work out on cutting down on their cost, or do they work out on incurring cost and developing more and more features to their products, adding more and more features to their products, or innovation or something like that? So what strategies do they adopt is the strategic choice. So because now that is possible because the CSFs are identified. If quality can give them that success, if they meet the quality standards, if they can provide the quality products to the customers, if they can meet that part of it, then to see that quality products are produced, what strategy should they adopt? They should not think about cutting down on the cost, but they should work out on a more amount of research and development and see that they produce quality products. So then the strategy can be adopted. At that point of time, they cannot think about cutting down on the cost because they have to meet the quality standards. So to meet the quality standards, if they meet the quality standards, if it is that they can achieve the success, then they should work out on that. At that time they cannot think about cutting down on the cost, but they should be coming forward with um, the investment into research development innovation. So what strategy should be adopted, what is the choice of strategies, will be dependent on CSFs. So then how do they implement that? Implementation, when it comes to implementation, then CSFs are identified. These are factors which can give them success. Just merely defining what are the success factors is not sufficient. After the success factors are identified, each of them should be measured. The measurement tools which we use here to measure CSFs are called as KPIs, that is key performance indicators. So for each success factor, there should be a key performance indicator. Let's say if we are talking about customer satisfaction as the critical success factor, if the customers are satisfied, in that case, on satisfying the customers, if they can, if it is possible for them to achieve the success, how do they know whether they are satisfied? How do they know? How do they understand whether these customers are satisfied? Customer satisfaction. The sales is increased sales. Yes, if we are talking about sales, it is increased sales. But huh, indirectly they can understand that it is because of increased sales. Increased sales could be because the price is lower, the competitors are not very strong and effective, and they do not provide the required product. Therefore, the sales have increased. Okay, indirectly we can quote that, but the more precise way of understanding whether the customers are satisfied is by way of feedback. Don't you think so? Feedback is very important to understand that whether they are satisfied or not. The feedbacks which are collected will help them understand. I'm really sorry, some disturbance. Okay. Now, once CSFs are identified, whatever strategy they adopted, strategic choice, then after that, whether they are achieving that success, to understand that KPIs have to be used. KPIs are key performance indicators. So I was talking about how do we um, understand or measure whether the customers are satisfied is by way of feedback. how do we understand whether they've reached their target of generating more revenue, whether there is growth in sales, okay, whether they've met the quality standards. So quality tests have to be some inspection testing, something will have to be taken up to see that whether they have produced quality products. So for each CSF there should be a respective KPI also. Measurement has to be done. So these CSFs should be measured. The measurement is by way of KPIs, the tools which are used to measure that. So if we talk about the profitability, maybe some ratios like profit margin ratio, return on investment, return on assets. There are certain things. Okay, like that for each CSF. Now, CSS, when we identify these CSS, um, then after that, they have to be measured. Now, if we are talking about the company itself, to which to the industry in which, to which it belongs, then maybe they have to understand by um, the market share. What is their share? How to how many customers are they catering their products and services? Like that, uh, we have to identify for each CSF or KPI. After that, there is a continuous monitoring which takes place. Okay, continuously. Now, when the measurement is there, now strategic implementation is the by way of formulation of detailed plans and budgets. The plans and budgets are formulated. The CSFs are identified. Then CSFs are measured by way of KPIs. Then this this analysis, when it is taken up, this information should be provided as feedback to the internal analysis, feedback to the external analysis, feedback based on considering the external considering the various stakeholders, and it gives them a chance of looking at what is the strategy, whether there is a feasibility of attaining this strategy. So implementation also, CSFs are used, because with the help of CSFs, yes, the strategy can be achieved, but these CSFs are measured at the stage of implementation. So while implementing the strategy, implementation level, because CSFs are identified, these CSFs are measured with the help of KPIs. So at that stage also CSFs are used. Where how do the CSFs fit into the bigger picture? The first one, the analysis is with the help of SWOT analysis. We identify the internal factors, external factors, and the CSFs of based on the SWOT analysis. Then, once the CSFs are identified, what strategies would be adopted? Do they think about cutting down on the cost, or do they think about spending more amount of cost and adding more features? The strategic choices should be made. Then, when the implementation comes, implementation is at that time where the actuals are compared with the plans. So, that is the implementation level. At the implementation level, since the CSFs are already defined, they are measured with the help of KPIs, and that will result in continuous evaluation of their performance and providing of feedback to the internal resources, so that they can be effectively implementing their strategy. Okay. Now we've already discussed about what are competences. Competencies are group of abilities, isn't it? Then we've discussed about what is core competency, what is threshold competency. Um, Core is their main source of strength. Threshold is if they perform those things, they will be able to achieve their target. They will be able to satisfy their customers, their stakeholders. Now, what is the link between competencies and critical success factors? Now, there has to be matching of the competencies and matching of the CSS. Now, CSS, we understood what is the meaning. We've understood the meaning of competencies. So, once these two things are identified, understood, then they have to be linked with each other, link between competencies and critical success factors. um, Competences are what we currently do well, while CSFs are what we need to do well. Okay. um, what are their abilities is about competences. How should they performance is their CSF. So do they have that ability so that they can perform well? So when you are linking the competences and CSFs with the abilities or group of abilities which they own, will they be able to perform and achieve what they want to achieve? Okay, to be successful, however, the organization needs them to match as closely as possible. Whether they have that required abilities to see that they achieve the targets. Is that clear? Oh my God, no one's listening to me. Okay, one response. What is the class strength in your college? 18. Okay. Any class has 18 students, or you have more than 18 students in any program? Okay. 18 is an ideal number. Very good. So personal attention can be given. We can also identify if you are up to something, isn't it? Okay, this is an in the add-on program there are 18. This is an add-on program, no? Okay, okay, okay. No, I have taken classes for CMA US program also of your college, Stella Maris College. So there also the strength is 18. So that's why I got it out. Whether it is the strength is only 18. So what are you pursuing now? BCom or PG? PG. Okay. What program are you into? MBA. Okay, PGDF. Fine. PGDF. It's a 2-year program. Huh. 1 year program. 15 months. Fine. So during this 15 months, these CIMA papers are spread. This is after college hours or before college or something. This is an add-on program, isn't it? Good choice. Good choice. You're spending time on PGDF as well as pursuing CIMA. Very good. Okay. Did you clear some of the papers? The club, the students in this group, you must have come till here means you must have cleared some E3 at this level. So you must have cleared something. How many exemptions do you have in CIMA for your program? 11 papers will be exempted out of 50. That's cool. Only you have to write 5 papers. Okay. Very good. Very good. Okay, let's get back to this one. Value drivers. Value drivers are activities or features that enhance the perceived value of a product or service. Now, value drivers, when we talk about value, anything related to value, um, it talks about creation or enhancement of value, enhancing the value to the end user. Now, when we talk about value management, value based management, um, value based activities, when we talk about value, what are we focusing on? We're focusing on adding value, enhancing the value to the end user. So value drivers are those drivers or those activities that can enhance the value of the product or service, because the end user is the customer in this scenario. So to satisfy the customer, the value of the products or services is enhanced. Okay. And what are those activities which can help in enhancing the value of the products or services to the customers? So that is value drivers. So to see that um, the perceived value of products or service can be enhanced to the customers. Okay. Whatever activities are taken up, we call those activities as value drivers. Examples are given. For example, some of them which are given for electronics retailer, um, product mix, convenience store locations, knowledgeable, friendly staff. These are drivers which can satisfy the customers, which can add value to the customer. So conveniently, if the stores are located, then they need not travel quite far off to get the product. So uh, they are placed in such a way that it enhances the value which is created to the customers. If the staff are knowledgeable, if they are friendly, then that also adds the value to the customers. So like that, they have varieties of products. It's not only one standard model or one defined model which is presented, but otherwise, if they can have varieties of products in their product line, the product mix is large enough, big enough for them to choose that. That also can add value to that. So those the drivers are those activities, those features, that characteristics which can add value to the customers. So that's called as value drivers. Okay. Um, the last part of what we are looking at is, now when the internal analysis is taken up, they understand their resources, competencies, they understand the CSF, both of them have to be matched. And if there are any discrepancies in that, measures are taken to see that um, they can achieve success by way of providing whatever is required. There is one model which is given by Porter's value chain model. So now here we are talking about adding value to the end user, the customer. So Porter has explained that the chain of activities which can add value to the customer. So he has identified that there are various activities which are taken up in an organization. He has divided them into two different categories. One is primary activities, and the second one is support activities. Primary activities which are in the involved in the activity of taking up the regular activities. What is the regular activity? What is the main operation of the business? Buying of raw material and selling of finished goods. So in between these two activities, all the activities which are involved are part of the main operation. So when raw material is bought, this raw material has to be converted into finished goods, and the finished goods are sold in the um, sold to the customers in the market. So everything which starts from buying material from the supplier and selling the goods to the customer. So everything in between also is a part of the main operation. So these operations or these activities are defined by Porter as primary activities. So the first one is inbound logistics, operations, outbound logistics, marketing and sales and services. Inbound logistics is about what is logistics? What is logistics? Any one of you, what is logistics? When we look at that, there are two things: inbound logistics and outbound logistics. Movement of goods. So movement of goods which come into that, into the inbound logistics. Movement of goods, transportation of material, movement of goods, inbound. So it comes into the business. So the activity which takes care of movement of material into the factory. So what comes into the factory? The raw material. So the raw material comes into the factory. But how does it come? It starts with choosing the supplier. First, identifying the sources of supplier, choosing the supplier, placing an order with the supplier, receiving the material from the supplier. So all that forms a part of inbound logistics, so that the material is moved into the factory. After that, the main operation is about converting of raw material into finished goods. So all the activities, processes which are involved in producing the products, converting the raw material into finished goods, form a part of the main operations. After the operations, we have the outbound logistics. When the final goods are produced, these goods have to be moved out of the factory premises to the showrooms or the warehouses. They have to be moved. So the activities which are involved in moving the material out of the factory premises to the showrooms and to the warehouses is called as outbound logistics. This is movement of the final product, the finished goods. Right? Then once they are placed in the warehouse, the customers have to be uh, made aware about their final products, their availability of final products. So the various sources of marketing their products, advertising them, and taking up distribution activities, and those things are under the category of marketing and sales. So the products have to be actually marketed and sold, right? Then once the sales is over, the activities do not end there. The products are delivered to the customer, the payment is received from the customer. It doesn't end there, because if the products are not satisfying the customers or adding value to the customers, they are not satisfied with that, then the organization should also come forward to provide services to the customer. They have to be provided with some after sales services like repairs, maintenance if needed. Then sometimes they are not satisfied with the entire product or a part of the product or service. Then that return facility should be provided. So some kind of service is provided to the customer after the sale. So that's called as after sale services. Okay, these are the main primary activities. These are the activities which are provided to the customers. But this doesn't happen just like that, because there should be other activities which should support the primary activities. The support activities, we have them as the firm infrastructure. Infrastructure talks about the facilities which they have. Facilities can be in terms of maybe the land building which they have, the land and building and equipment, the machinery. Those things all come under firm infrastructure. Infrastructure is basically the facilities which they have. So what kind of facilities are provided so that their primary activities can be taken up. So firm infrastructure. Then the human resources is about selecting the employees or staff for the organization, hiring, recruiting the staff, providing them training, placing them in their position, deciding their salaries, their other benefits, and all of them form a part of the human resource management or human resource activity. So it takes care of the activity which involves the staff of the organization. Then the technological development, their research, their innovation, all of them will decide about what advantage they can have. So what, how developed are they in terms of technology? So technological development, their research related activities, okay, um, okay, their innovation, those things are involved with technological development. Procurement is, we've learned about procurement. Procurement is about buying the material from the supplier. So when the material is moved into the factory, we are calling them as inbound logistics. Then this doesn't happen instantly just like that. A supplier has to be first identified, then the supplier has to be contacted. If it is traditional method, maybe they are communicated. The suppliers are sent information about what is their requirement. If it is electronic procurement, then they can choose it from the electronic platforms which are available and select the supplier, decide on whatever are the terms and conditions. So the process which is involved to acquire the material, purchase the material from the suppliers is called as procurement. Okay. So when internal analysis is taken up, internal analysis can be taken up with a model given by Porter's value chain analysis. So he has summarized that all the activities which take place in an organization can be classified them as primary activities and support activities, and then he went on explaining what are these things. So ultimately this should result in they realizing a profit for the organization. Okay, so that is the content in this particular chapter. um, we will first look into the MCQs first, and then we'll come back to the next topic. Okay. Okay, did we stop yesterday? Any idea? Okay, we finished 77 questions. Then now you can see the exam kit. 78th question. QG has a sophisticated database which its managers use to identify individual customer needs as well as market trends. Since its creation, the database has helped boost QG's sales by around 25%. Which one of the following resource classifications would QG's database be included within? That is EMS model which we have looked into. We've looked into, there is one, when we are looking at the resources are listed out in the form of EMS. Okay. Which M is better fit into this? So we have these are the list of M's. So it has sophisticated database. So the issue is about the information system. Database is a place, or um, is where the information is stored, which can be easily retrieved and used. It uh, so that's a database. set of data which is stored, right? Now, QG has a sophisticated database which is managers use to identify individual customer needs as well as the market trends. So they are using this database so that they can analyze certain things. Since its creation, the database has helped boost QG's sales by around 25%. So which one of the following resource? Yes, information, management information. That's right. Okay. 79th question. The following statements relate to organizational resources and competences. Select all of the statements that are correct. All of the statements, we do not know how many of them. So now here we have to be careful and then look into that. Read and reread and then do that. Which one are correct? A is core competencies are difficult for an organization's rivals to imitate. B, threshold competencies give competitive advantage to the organization. C, core competencies. What is false? A is true or false? Whether A is true or false? Okay, I'm just reading that. Still haven't discussed it. Okay, most of you have discussed it as A. Now, A are core competencies are difficult for an organization's rivals to imitate. That is their core strength, core competency. So we go with A. These threshold competencies give competitive advantage to the organization. Is that right? No, that's not right, isn't it? No, I think maybe for that you wrote it as false. Okay, this is not right. Threshold competencies are what they should be doing to see that the customers are satisfied. Is threshold competencies. Okay, core competencies are often intangible in nature. Yes, yes, we agree with that also as well. Okay, Maunika, B cannot be that. That is the competitive advantage they have is core competence. It's not threshold competence. Right? D. Threshold competences tend to turn into core competences over time. Does it happen? No, it doesn't. Okay. Their main area of strength will remain the same. So D also is not applicable. Core competences are, and critical success factors have the same meaning. No, they do not. So we are left with A and C. I want one of you to read the question. I want one of you to read the question. Okay, this I will read, but from the next one onwards, each one of you read one question. Okay, 80, question number 80. X is a car and van rental company. It provides short-term and long-term rental of vehicles to corporate and private customers to satisfy an immediate need, such as moving house or having a vehicle off the road for repair, or continuing needs such as a busy period where more capacity is needed. X is a part way through its formal strategic planning process and has developed a mission statement. X aims to be first choice vehicle rental company by providing well-maintained vehicles at an affordable price and excellent customer service. X has developed 8 performance measures based on their mission. X has developed 8 performance measures based on this mission, uh, but is uncertain how to categorize these measures into critical success factors and key performance indicators. Measures are given as um, high. There are 8 points which are given. So now these 8 measures, whatever are they, we have to put them under are they CSFs or KPIs very carefully. What is the type of business? To which industry do they belong? They belong to automobile industry. Okay. X is a car and van rental company. So this is a rental car and van rental company. Then they have it provides a short term and long term rental of vehicles. That is their main activity. Right. Mm, then they have identified that there are 8 measures, and now carefully understand whether it will fall under CSF or under KPI. First one, high level of customer satisfaction. Customer satisfaction is a CSF. Okay, customer satisfaction is a CSF. If it is a CSF, how do we know whether they are satisfied? Just now we've discussed. How do we know that they are satisfied? Okay, I just now discussed it. How do they know? Okay, 6. They know it by feedback, isn't it? So no more than 2% of the customers submit complaints. So um, feedback is collected. So no more than 2% of customers. So they are satisfied. Customer satisfaction is understood that very minimum amount of complaints are submitted. That's how we identify that. So first one is a CSF, and to measure the CSF, the KPI used is the feedback collected from that, and the feedback says that um, minimum of maximum of only 2% of complaints have been received. They are either 2% or less than that. So that is the KPI. Second one, answer telephone calls within 5 rings. Vehicle is a KPI. Okay. Vehicle breakdowns happen less than 1 per 100 rental days. That is again the performance part, measurement part of it. Okay, KPI. Prices must be within 5% of the average charged by rivals. That again is a Okay. KPI. Affordable rental charges. Affordable rental charges. Affordable rental charges are that will decide about their success factor, isn't it? That is a success factor that will decide whether they can achieve success. So affordable rental charges. So the previous month talks about the charges. Prices must be within 5% of the average charged by rivals. So they want to achieve success by way of rental charges. But then how do they measure? How do they evaluate that situation? They evaluate that situation by fourth point. Fourth point says that they should be within the range of 5% of must be within 5% of the average charged by rivals. So they're comparing themselves with the rivals prices, and they're measuring whether their price is on par or within that 5% range as compared to the competitors rivals. So that is what. So when 5 is decided as a CSF, how do we measure that? On a comparison with the competitors, it is measured. Sixth one, no more than 2% of customers submit complaints is over. Well maintained vehicles, yes, that again decides their success factor. Excellent customer service is again a CSF. So well maintained vehicles, for that, which one can be given as a KPI? Well maintained vehicles, what could be the KPI? 3. Vehicle breakdowns happen less than 1 per 100. Okay, well maintained vehicles, this is a KPI. Then 8. 8 is excellent customer service. Excellent customer service is the second one. Answer telephone calls within 5 days. Excellent customer service. 81. C is a mobile telecommunications company. It provides a network through which calls can be routed and enters into agreements with mobile telephone users. Some of the users buy call time, messages, and data in advance, while others pay a fixed amount each month in return for a package of calls, messages, and data within the limits set for each contract. C is a pathway through its first formal strategic planning process and has developed a mission statement. C's aim is to provide consistently clear calls at a reasonable price to happy and loyal customers. C has developed a series of performance measures based on the mission, but it's uncertain how to categorize those measures into CSFs and KPIs. So there are again 8 points given here as measures. You to put them as CSFs and KPIs. I will not help you. You only tell me the answers. A similar one, no? So I think you can identify. Anyone to start with one? One is a CSF. Okay, done. So one is a CSF. Eight is a related KPI. Good. Average contract charges to be lower than that of two rivals. So the pricing compared with the rivals. Very good. Next, all of you participate in the discussion. Two, an average score of 4.5 of 5. So this is about customer satisfaction survey. So that's a feedback that would be KPI only. But for which one? For which one we have to identify. So from among them, the third point is customer loyalty. So where will customer loyalty fall? Okay, customer loyalty is a CSF, and that loyalty is measured by way of KPI, which is a customer feedback or customer satisfaction score. So then we have, can we connect it here? Are there any other points less than 1 in 50 calls should call you to happy customers? Happy customers, where will happy customers come? Happy customers are the related KPIs 7 is 90% of customer preference. Okay. Seven. See, both 2 and 7 talk about the customer satisfaction service and scores, but the most appropriate one is 7. 7 because it is talking about retention. Loyalty is also about retention. Therefore, we connect 3 with 7. Happy customer is a KPI. The next one, good quality network provisions. Happy customers is a KPI. Is it a KPI? Okay. I'm sorry. Happy customers is related to KPI number 2. Okay. Happy customers is a CSF and related. I'm sorry, I didn't see the complete sentence. Happy customers related KPI is 2. 6 is good quality network provisions. Good quality network provisions is a CSF and the KPI is less than 1 in 50 calls should fall due to network problem. B Limited has identified a critical success factor for its organization. Have an excellent quality product. Which one of the following would be the most suitable key performance indicator for the CSF? Shruti says it's B. Disha says it's A. Have an excellent quality product. Excellent quality product. Reduce the number of defects. Quality is less defects, isn't it? Reduce the number of defects identified by quality control and customers by 25%. B, reduce the average time. Average time is the setup time. It is not about quality, right? Um, if the defects are low, then it is a quality product. So we go with A. A is the answer. 83. S is attempting to decide the critical success factors for his business. According to Rocket's model, which three of the following options are sources of CSFs? Which three? Three is the number. The wider environment, the company itself and its situation within the industry, the business is it. Yes. A, B, and C. That's right. VPLC is a national bank based in countrywide. It has recently been informed by the national government that it is being fined a large sum of money for misleading customers. B is aware that the fine will place a strain on its cash flows for the coming year. We usually has a large cash surplus each year, meaning that it needs to introduce a new critical success factor of maximizing cash flows for the coming year as a one-off target. According to Rocket's model, which one of the following sources of CSFs is being described? Yes, yes, yes. C is the answer because it is a temporary. Normally, it says that we usually has a large cash surplus each year. So normally their liquidity position is very good, but now they have a crisis there. That is, there is a strain on its cash flow. So it's a temporal factor. A workshop which mobilizes resources to solve specific problems. This is a definition of which one of the following concepts? This is a workshop which mobilizes resources to solve specific problems. Value linkage, value system, value shop, value driver. It's a value shop. Okay, C is the answer. That's right. It's a value shop. Which three of the following options are secondary or supportive activities within Fortis value chain? Secondary infrastructure, procurement, technology development. Service is a primary, marketing and sales is also a primary activity. '87, QOI prints and sells dictionaries. The managing director of QOI has recently made a statement relating to QOI's performance with regards to Porter's value chain model. QOI's inbound logistics processes are excellent and we regularly manage to find the most cost effective paper suppliers by regular scanning of the market. Our operations are highly efficient with high quality automated printing systems in our factory. Our outbound logistics are also well designed, which I can attribute to our strong promotions and excellent advertising. Which one of the following statements best describes the managing director's level of understanding of the value chain model? Excellent, good, poor, very poor. What's the answer? Is it excellent? Excellent. He has shown that he understands all of the activities he discussed. Good. He has misunderstood one of the activities he discussed. Poor. He has misunderstood two of the activities he discussed. Very poor. He has misunderstood all of the activities he discussed. What is he discussing about? The first one is discussing about inbound logistics. Inbound logistics processes are excellent as we regularly manage to find the most cost effective paper suppliers by regularly scanning of the market. Our operations are highly efficient with high quality automated printing systems in our factory. Our outbound logistics are also well designed, which I can attribute to our strong promotions and excellent advertising. Three activities are discussed. Okay. First one talks about inbound logistics. Inbound logistics is one thing. Then he's talking about the main operations. That's the second activity. Third activity he's talking about is outbound logistics. So he's mentioning inbound logistics as as we regularly manage to find the most cost effective paper suppliers by regularly scanning of the market. Effect finding out the suppliers through various platforms comes under procurement. It's not inbound logistics. Inbound logistics, as you have mentioned, it is movement of material, movement of goods. So that is movement of goods into the factories. Inbound logistics. So he misunderstood one activity. Second activity is operations. Operations are highly efficient with high quality automated printing systems in our factory. So printing activity, that is their main manufacturing part of it, main activity. So he understood operations properly. Third one, our outbound logistics are also well designed, which I can attribute to our strong promotions and excellent advertising. Promotion and excellent advertising are a part of marketing and sales. It is not an outbound activity. So how many did he misunderstand? How many did he misunderstand? Two. So what's the right answer? C is the right answer. F is a manufacturer of children's toys. F is a pathway through its first formal strategic planning process and has tried to identify those activities it performs that its customers really seem to appreciate. The next step F must perform is to classify these activities using Porter's value chain model. Activities are given, value chain classification is given. Identify which activity relates to each dimension by pairing the appropriate letter and number. Okay. Handling customer complaints is a part of. And one customer, human resource is employees, not customers. Handling customer complaints is four. Shruti, please get it corrected. Okay. Budgeting for the manufacturing process. Budgeting for the manufacturing process. Budgeting for the manufacturing staff training. HR. Okay. This is HR. Infrastructure is about the facility. Facility is about whether they have capital requirement, whether they have machinery, equipment, all those things are facilities or infrastructure. So this should go to infrastructure. Okay. Automated inventory control for raw material. Automated inventory control for raw material, getting the raw material into the factory. Okay. So D is 2, inbound logistics. JJE makes and sells freshly baked bread. It has recently developed an automated inventory control system for its finished loaves, which significantly reduces wastage. Which one of the following value chain activities will JJE's automated inventory system directly improve? Procurement is buying the raw material. Outbound buying the raw material from the supplier, selecting the supplier, all those things come under procurement. Outbound logistics are carrying the finished products out of the operation premises to the customers. That is outbound logistics. Operations is conversion, or the, here in this case, baking of bread is operation. Inbound logistics is getting the raw material which is required into the bakery. Okay. So, which one of the following value chain activities will JJE's automated inventory system directly improve? Which one should be the answer? See, bakery automation isn't required. The value chain which of the following value chain activity will improve the customer satisfaction or whatever is that? They have recently developed an automated inventory control system. Which activity it is more suitable? Which activity automation is more suitable? Is it for buying the material from the supplier? That activity of placing an order with the supplier, should that be automated? Should the delivery of the fresh baked goods to the customers be automated? The baking of the products should be automated, or buying the inventory into the factory, moving the inventory into the factory should be automated? See, it is a freshly baked bread. So if they are quick in terms of delivering this to the customers with the help of automation, that will help them. So outbound logistics is more appropriate. Agree? 90. QHQ is a law firm. It has recently undertaken an analysis of its activities, but is uncertain which activity relates to each part of the firm's value chain. Consider the following list of activities within QHQ and various value chain classifications. Activity value chain classification. Please match that and tell me. All of you, please read that, match that and tell me. Write the answer. Complete all four options you tell me. '89. We'll finish this and we'll go back. Okay. A is it is a service dealing with claims of negligence by customers. It's a law firm. Remember that. Okay. Attending court cases is their main operation. Fine. B will be 4. That's their main operation. It's a law firm. Central control systems that ensure each case is independently reviewed. That's facility they have, teacher, infrastructure, and this one is 1. Yes, these are the right answers. Okay. So let's go to the previous question. 89. JG makes and sells freshly baked bread. It has recently developed an automated inventory control system. So when they have developed an automated inventory system, if that is implemented in which of their activities will help them better? That is the question. So there are 4 activities: procurement activity, outbound logistics, operation activity, inbound logistics. So there are 4 activities mentioned. So the developed automated inventory system, if it is associated with which activity, will help them. We will help this bakery. Which one of the following value chain activities will JJE's automated inventory system directly improve? Because they are selling freshly baked bread. The minute the bread is baked, if they can deliver to the customer with the help of automation, it will be helpful. See, acquiring information about who are the suppliers is about procurement. Identifying the suppliers, choosing the supplier and all. So that's not so much of an issue because the material is not such a critical material. It is simple plain flour which they have to acquire. So need not go for automated inventory system for procurement. Operation also, the main activity is baking the bread. So they must already be using their equipment to bake the bread. And inbound logistics, getting the raw material into the factory is not so much important. Whereas after the bread is baked, freshly baked the breads, if they can be delivered to the customer, that can add value to the customer. A reduced wastage in terms of how much flour does it take. Flour is not so expensive material. It is even if they take measures to um, cut down on the wastage, they will not be benefited much. But if they can deliver the operation is the main activity. Operation is converting the flour into bread is the main operation. Baking of bread is the main operation. Anyway, they must be using that the baking is a process which is not regular. So they, unless and until they have that baking equipment, they cannot run a bakery. The second sentence I didn't understand, Disha. So operations is what has improved now. Improved. Operation, no, here it says that it has recently developed an automated inventory control system. Which one of the following value chain activities will JJE's automated inventory system directly improve? So if they use that, which one will improve? So among the four, we understand that if they can deliver the freshly baked bread to the customer in time, then that will help them. That's meaning of it. Shruti, is that clear? Reduce time of what? No, there is an automated inventory system. If that is connected with which activity, the organization will be benefited or there will be value added to the customer. Value drivers are those things only. Value chain analysis also talks about take up the activities which can enhance the value to the end user, the customer. Okay. So how to add value to the customer? Value to the customers will not be added if they choose the procurement method of selecting the supplier. That is not what makes the customer satisfied. Yes, maybe somewhere vaguely there might be something associated with procurement process, but they would be satisfied if they can be delivered the freshly baked bread. If that is done, they will be satisfied. Operation also, operation automation, the main feature is why do they go for automation? Efficiency will be increased, effectiveness will be increased. So in terms of bakery, um, the the baked products is their main operation. So baking is not simply done. It is not plain cooking. It is with the help of something. I'm not able to understand. But it doesn't say that the automation has reduced the time. One feature of automation is speed. Speed is one feature of automation. Otherwise, what was done manually, if it is done with the help of automated equipment, it is done faster, quicker. When it is done faster, it indicates that it is saving time. Don't you think so? It is not indicating in this question, but the very basic meaning of automation is mass production taken up within less amount of time. So time is saved. Time is saved in the long run. Even the cost is saved because initially, even if they have incurred huge costs also, uh, after a while of production, because the speed and the volume of production is high, it becomes cost effective. They work on large scale production. When they work on large scale production, economies of scale can be realized. Fixed cost after it is observed, their profitability position is better. That is why people go for automation. Is that clear? Confusing. Please express your doubt. The questions that talks about they have developed an automated inventory control system. So, in if this automated inventory control system, if it is associated with which one of the following activities will be more beneficial, will directly improve. So, uh, outbound logistics, inbound logistics is Logistics is movement of material, movement of goods. That is logistics. Inbound is bringing into the factory. Outbound is taking out of the factory. What will be taken out of the factory? The finished product is taken out of the factory or the premises where the activity is carried on. So taking out, outbound logistics. Okay. Recollecting, storing. What is recollecting, storing? What we? No, it's not storing. It's not storing. It is taken to the store, but it's not the process of storing. It is taken from the factory premises to the stores. Logistics is movement of material into the factory, out of the factory. Into the factory is inbound, out of the factory is outbound. Since it is a selling of freshly baked products, if they can quickly take out and then deliver to the customers from it is a bakery, they need not store it in a warehouse. No, from the bakery directly deliver to the customer. So in that case, outbound logistics is the most appropriate one. Okay, good. YF is a call center linked to the National Health Service in country. Okay, good. When a patient calls YF, a medically qualified operator gathers information about their condition, which is entered onto a central database. This is used to make a decision about the cause of the patient's problem. The operator will then inform the patient about what to do next, that is, whether they need to go to a hospital or a doctor's surgery. For non emergencies, the operator will email this information to the patient for their future reference. YF is considering the launch of a new expert IT system. This will allow operators to input detailed patient symptoms into the system, which will then make suggestions as to possible diagnosis on in order to support the operator's decision-making process. Which one of the following activities within YF value chain is the new IT system supporting? We'll answer this question as the last one and then we'll end the class. This one or the next one, and then we'll end the class. 91. What's the answer? Just answer this one and then we'll end it here. 91. Which one of the following activities within YF's value chain is the new IT system supporting? Okay. Launch of new expert IT. So the main activity which will then make suggestions as to possible diagnosis in order to support the operator's decision making process. So B is the answer, right? We'll end on this note and then we'll meet tomorrow. Hope it is all clear. Okay. So you have the study text with you. Do you have the study text with you? No. From tomorrow is Friday. From tomorrow, we will have our classes as 3 hours. So 1.5 hour I take, I'll give you 5 minutes break. 3 hours satisfied to sit also, it may not be so possible. So we'll have 1.5 hour, 5 to 10 minutes break, and then the remaining 1.5 hour. Okay, we'll have class like that. Okay, then see you tomorrow. Good day. Come prepared for a 3 hours class.